Do you fund any industries that abuse animals? And by that I mean meat, dairy, eggs, circuses, zoos, animal testing on products and stuff like that.
Okay, we start with animal testing.
What do you think of that? Start with farms. Start with farmed animals.
I'd like to work with testing, and then I'll...
Okay, that's fair enough.
Okay.
Go with the testing first.
Yes, we have to have testing. Certain things have to be tested, and whether you get some people to come forward and they will allow certain things to be tested on. But I do think we do need animals in certain cases to have as laboratory testing. Now, not to be using it willy-nilly, but in some cases where you have a certain drug or a certain treatment that needs to be tested, I would say test it on an animal before I test it on a human.
Do you think it's okay to test on somebody which causes an unbelievable amount of pain and suffering to that being, just so that somebody else can benefit from it?
Well, of course, that a human would benefit with the treatment, I would have to say yes on that. Yes.
I guess what I'm asking is, on that particular point, is do you see humans as more important than animals, and if so, why?
You did say earlier that I'm a believer. I do believe a higher force, and as that, we have a soul. Me and you have a soul. Whether we believe it or not, you have a soul. Animals haven't got a soul, but they're there. We're supposed to take care of them. They're there for our use and benefit. We're to take care of them. We're not to abuse them. We're not to, as I say, they are a gift from God. And as I say, we're to use them wisely.
See, on the soul thing. So, as you know, we've had discussions before,
yes.
And I know my Bible pretty well from my background many years ago.
And so did Satan, and so do all the fallen angels know the Bible very well. So,
Ecclesiastes 3:19. I don't know if we have souls or not, by the way. I just want to make that clear.
Well, you do.
I am not saying we don't. I'm atheist, but I do believe there's something intrinsically inside all living beings, including myself and including animals. But if you're a believer in the Bible, Ecclesiastes 3:19 distinctly says that animals have the same life, breath, or living soul.
Yeah, the life force.
Yeah.
They have the life force. As all living plants and animals have. We all have a life force within us. Now, as I'm going to say to you again, and I can see where you're coming from and you can see where I'm coming from, because we are humans, because I believe that we were created in the image and likeness of God, there is a difference. Like, I put it this way, I grew up on a farm, animals outside, humans inside. That was the rule. And as I say, we got on quite well with the animals, and the animals were quite happy. Some people don't understand that I don't agree with elevating animals to the same level as a human, and maybe that's where we'll disagree here.
Well, we can disagree on that, because I know you have a firm belief in God and that we have a soul and we were created in the image of God. I'm well aware with all that stuff, but the original translation of the Bible, when it's talking about God creating man with a soul, the original word is nephesh, which means life, breath, or living soul. But when God created the animals, the same word is used. See, they're Aramaic or Hebrew, I can't remember which. It might be Aramaic.
He did say.
Animals were created with the same life, breath, or living soul. It's the word we use for. Yeah. No, but they were created with the same living soul.
Yeah, but they weren't given a soul.
Yeah, but they were. I can show you it in the Bible if you want to. If you have one on you, I'll show it to you.
We'll have to agree to disagree for the moment on
okay. But either way, we can't prove it. That's one thing we can agree on. You can't prove if you have a soul.
Some animals can be very human-like.
No, but of course.
They can have a great attachment with their human companion.
Yeah.
Or the human can have a great attachment with certain animals.
Animals are often better than some human beings.
Well, no, we cannot. No. Animals can be very loyal.
Yes.
Humans can be very loyal as well. But as a rule of thumb, your dog is usually your best friend. It won't. Won't divorce you, won't leave you, won't take your money, and won't steal your car.
Yeah.
Okay. On that level, they are very very loyal dog.
And human beings are often not like that.
Well,
human
some-
beings,
some-
not everybody.
some-
I'm not going to paint everybody with the same brush, but human
Maybe
beings will
some of
often
us-
let you down.
Maybe some of us have been a bit,
They'll often
bit more unlucky
cheat
than
on you.
others.
They'll lie to you. You know, so animals don't do that.
That's the human factor, you see.
Let me give you a point, and then let me ask you a question and get your answer to it. So, on the elevation of animals to the equal status with human beings, you're looking at that from your perspective. The way I see it is, every life, whether it be created or however it came about on this planet, values their own life themselves. So it's not up to me to decide who lives and who dies, who suffers and who doesn't, who lives in captivity and who lives freely.
Push at the moment is for transhumanism to diminish the human existence. They're all bringing these, pushing this into that direction, pushing all that to that direction. So
let me ask you this question.
Go ahead.
On the elevation. So people always say to me, do you value an animal's life as much as you value a human's life?
No, the human would have to come first.
Okay, I'm not going to change your mind on that.
No, but the human.
I'm not going to change your mind on that. We're probably not agreeing on it. But here's the question.
The next question.
Here's
would be,
the
you want to give animals the right to vote?
No, that's not what animal rights means. It's the right.
No, wait now.
It's the no.
1 second.
It's the right to live.
I'm not being silly here. If you're elevating them up to the same level as a human, then you have to give them.
I haven't told you what I think yet, and I'm about to ask you a question.
You'll have to give them the right to vote. Go ahead.
The right question is,
go ahead.
Not what do you value more, human beings or animals? The right question is, what do you value more, an animal's life or taste of meat products or taste of dairy products or a leather jacket when you can just eat a plant-based version instead? Which was what your God originally intended us to in Genesis 1:29. He told us.
Yes.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, man transgressed, and we're not in the Garden of Eden. And it's not feasible. The plant-based products, it wouldn't be enough to feed the population.
You're going against science now, because let me tell you this quickly. There are 8 billion human beings on this planet right now. Just about 7.89 billion. Every year we're killing 76 billion land animals to eat for food. Every 16 kilograms of grain we feed to animals gets turned into 1 kilogram of beef. So the science says if everybody went vegan overnight, which is not what's going to happen, but if they did, we could use 70% less land to grow enough crops to feed the entire human race with 70% less land. The problem is we are growing enough food to feed 76 billion land animals that we kill every single year.
The policy you're on about has been pushed into place by the UN and other organisations at the moment, because they're reducing the capability of farmers to be able to fertilise the land, nitrogen.
Well, the soil here in Northern Ireland with nitrogen's way beyond any levels. We're the worst in Europe. We're at poisonous levels now and way beyond.
To feed the population here, we'd need about 4 times the amount of land. No. It wouldn't work. No. I know from agriculture.
Joseph Purr is at Oxford University, and he has a peer-reviewed paper. So this guy started this survey. He surveyed like 40,000 farms, and his findings were that we can use 70% less land and still feed the population and make any amount of food. So that's the science. That's fact. That's not me telling you that. That's a scientist telling you that.
He may be a scientist, but he's not a farmer. And I can tell you, he's talking through his, I would say, his posterior.
No, I disagree with you strongly.
I commend what you're trying to do. Yes, give people the choice to go vegan or to go vegetarian. That's great, but that has to be the reciprocal side of that has to be. You have to allow people to be meat eaters. We were carnivores for a very long time.
Yeah, but so personal choice is the first one you're bringing up there. I agree with personal choice as long as somebody else isn't getting harmed. But with animal agriculture and the dairy industry and the meat industry and whatever, Somebody's getting harmed. So my personal choice might be to punch you in the face. But I would not do that because it's going to harm you. And I feel like I'm a good person, so I don't want to cause.
Put that again if you won't hear with this.
It's all right. I'll be fine. I'll cut it. I can cut it out. I don't want to harm you. I don't want to cause you pain or suffering at all. I don't think anybody should have to suffer unnecessarily.
Well, the dairy
dairy
industry isn't the average well-run dairy farm isn't a cruel place.
I'd say it's the cruelest industry on planet Earth. Full stop.
In what way? Have you any experience in the dairy industry?
Yes, loads. I'm an animal rights activist.
No, have you ever worked with cows? Have you ever milked cows? I
have been on farms with cows. I've been in markets with cows.
How long have you been on a farm with cows?
Well, let me tell you how the dairy industry works. And do you know? Are you involved in the dairy industry? Or have been?
I can tell you, we looked after the cows very well.
So okay.
And they were nearly like your brother because they were your income.
Right. Well, let me
you minded them, and you looked after them, and you got the vet for them, and you did this. You put a lot of time. I can see people looking after a dog, and the way they look after one in one way or another. And farmers who are in tune with their animals are behaving in the same way. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is, how long have you spent on a farm?
Let me explain the dairy.
I spent a good number of years.
I have been on farms when I was young. I lived in the countryside. I lived right beside farms. Okay.
Right. Okay.
I now have a good level of understanding of all these industries because I make it my business to understand them. So let me explain the dairy industry in like 2 minutes, and you correct me where I'm wrong.
Go ahead.
Okay. So all the dairy cows that we see standing in the fields, mostly Frisians in Northern Ireland. Mm-hmm. Every single one of them is a female, right or wrong?
Of course, a dairy cow has to be a female.
Okay, cool. So when they're born, 50% male, 50% female.
Roughly.
What happens to the baby boys? The drop calves, as they call them here.
They go into the beef cycle.
Some of them do. Some of them do. Some of them are finished for beef and sold at a young age. But they're not the same value as the Charleroi and the beef cows. So
no, because they don't put on the same amount of meat.
Yeah, they're much taller and leaner cows. So they're sold for.
Yeah, they're designed for milk production, not for meat production.
So I've been in the markets and talked to the guys, and they are sold for cheap meat products like steak and kidney pie and soups and dog food and stuff like that. Some of them are sold into the veal industry. They go across on ferries across to generally Belgium and Holland.
I don't agree with that.
And they stand at veal pens.
No, I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I don't agree.
You don't agree? You're telling that's not true? Or
I said it does. I'm saying it does happen, but I don't agree with doing that with calves.
Yeah. So, and the third thing that happens.
A lot of farmers wouldn't agree with that.
Some farmers kill them at birth.
Well, I have no knowledge of that, honestly.
Okay. Well, in the UK last year, between 150 and 150,000, 120,000 and 150,000 were killed on the day they're born because some farmers don't want to rear them and they're a waste product.
I have no knowledge of that in Ireland, and I didn't know it was happening in the UK.
30,000.
I was aware there was something happening in Australia.
Yeah. Okay. It happens here too.
Well, to my knowledge, it hasn't. But then go ahead.
And the new thing that happens to them now, the fourth way, is that Irish farmers or dairy herd is huge in Ireland. It's huge because
it's a big industry.
Yes, because Ireland went to the EU and had a special plea. Everybody else, their milk herd is only allowed to be a certain size because they only want a certain amount of milk. But Ireland said, no, we can't live with that. We have so many farmers, so they have a huge herd of cows, particularly in the south of Ireland. So the farmers have discovered now they can sell the baby boy calves to North African countries. So they're taken down to Cork a few days old, and they're loaded onto ships and they're taken to Algeria, Morocco, Libya, countries like that.
Well, they won't. I can tell you, a calf won't live a few days old. Been transported. You're talking.
They have to be 10 to 14 days old.
Well,
so I can show you pictures on my phone from Ballymena Market.
It's not a viable financial. I'm just looking at it from a financial aspect. It's not a viable financial way of doing it because calves at that age would need to be still getting beastings and milk.
They're not allowed to leave the farm until they're 10 days old. As soon as they're 10 days old, they're gone. Yeah, that's fact. And they get loaded on the ships and taken away. I've been to Ballymena Market on Friday mornings, which is the drop calf market, and there's wee baby calves this high being sold for veal for transport over to North Africa or for slaughter.
I have no knowledge of that, honestly. I have no knowledge of that.
So that's cruel. Would you agree that's
Well,
cruel?
I don't agree with veal. I don't agree with eating horse meat.
But the veal industry only...
If you ask me, do I agree with eating horses? No, I don't agree with eating
But
horses.
the veal industry only exists because the dairy industry exists.
Well, no, you.
So what are we going to do?
No,
All
the veal, as I say, people eat, the continentals eat veal like they eat horse meat. I don't agree with eating horse meat. I certainly don't agree with eating veal either. On that, I would agree with you.
So
But
let me finish off. So we're finished with the baby boys now. That's what's happened to them. I think that's incredibly cruel. I think it's wrong.
you can do-
The girls,
now, you can do just like in humans, you can do
yeah, but it's the semen, the sex semen, but it's very expensive, and the farmers don't
You
want to
can
pay
do
for
it,
it.
and it's been done.
Yeah, it's been done, and it's still only got a hair rate of about 60%
If you
female.
really good cows, that's what you do.
Yeah. So
Anyway, go
the
on.
females. Let's go to the females now.
Yes.
They're born when they're old enough. They will be artificially impregnated because the only time a female cow produces milk is like a human mum. So either pregnant or have given
One
birth.
second. Okay, there's humans does that. And we consider it.
With consent.
It's
With consent.
it's considered
Artificial insemination.
yeah, but it's considered.
But it's consensual in with human beings.
Wait a minute now. You're coming out to something there now, quite amusing in a sense. Yeah. Well, that's the way it works. Unfortunately, as I say, you're wanting written consent.
So right, so let me finish. They're artificially inseminated. They're pregnant for 9 months, almost exactly the same as a human being.
Yes, go on.
As soon as the calves are born, mostly now they're taken away straight away from them because the farmer doesn't want the calf to be drinking the milk he wants to sell to humans. Okay? I've heard the cows. I used to live in the countryside, and I've heard the female cows crying for their babies. I used to say to my mum, "Why are the cows beside us crying so much?" And she told me when I was young, they've taken the babies away from them. I thought that was something that had to happen. I didn't realise how cruel that was. Maternal instinct's not just for human beings. Animals have it too. So that happens 4, 5, maybe 6 times until the females are 5 or 6 years old.
I know.
6 years old.
A dairy cow could live to be 12, maybe 12 years old.
They can live to 30 years old.
No, but it'd be in production at about 12 years.
Most of them, the average age of slaughter in the UK is 6 years
Yeah,
old.
but in the UK, you're using.
Good, very good. I'll see you later, Leonard. You're using statistics that don't pan out here, you know, like.
We're in the UK, but they're artificially impregnated. They have their children taken away from them. They are exploited every single day of their life. Then they're made pregnant again. They have their child taken away, and that happens a few cycles, and then they're sent off to a slaughterhouse when their milk production drops. So they're exploited for everything they have. They have their children taken away from them multiple times, and then they're killed. That's animal abuse.
Milk. What?
Well, you can
What's your
plant-based milk. Let me finish off with this.
Go ahead.
You're talking about they're trying to push this agenda and that agenda.
Yes.
The agenda I'm trying to push
Yes.
is a kinder and more empathetic and more compassionate agenda.
I don't disagree with that.
Where if you don't have to stick a knife in an animal's throat for an unnecessary reason, well then why the heck are we doing it? Because it's cruel to hurt an animal.
But you want to bring
When
in a
you
blanket,
don't need to.
You want to bring in a blanket ban altogether.
I don't think that's a hypothetical. And yes, I would make harm in
Yeah, but I mean,
animals.
you see,
I would
you've gone-
criminalise it, yes.
You've gone that step. You're gone over the Rio Grande in the sense.
Well, let me put it this way. If somebody was kicking a wee doggy over there now, what would you
I don't
do?
agree with that kind of cruelty. No,
What if it was a wee lamb?
I don't agree with that either.
So, kicking a wee lamb is wrong, but sticking a knife in their throat is okay.
Kill something humanely, yes.
How do you humanely kill somebody?
Well, as I say, I'm not a butcher, but as I say, you
How would I humanely kill you? If you don't want to die, how would I humanely kill you? Because let me give you this. What does humane mean? It means benevolence. It means to be kind to. It means to care for. Slaughter means to kill somebody in a violent fashion. Those two words don't belong together. That's an oxymoron.
This is private property anyway on the hill.
Yes, I have none of the hood.
Do you own it?
What's that?
Do you own it?
I don't own it, but I pay rent on it, yeah. and I have a say in who stands here because I pay rent and rates on it, yeah, and service charge.
Not public property.
It's not public, no, it's private. Right out there, it's private property. It's owned by the Fitzpatrick.
I've already spoken to the security man, so don't worry about it.